Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Goddamn Gamecube. We are in between seasons 3 and 4. As we prepare for season 4, we thought we would bring you some exclusive content. College basketball March Madness is going on right now, and if you are listening to a video game podcast, you probably do not give a shit about March Madness. So we thought we'd give you something special. So we did Final Fantasy March Madness last year. And this year, we are going to do a little video game developer March Madness. So what we've got, Nick the intern put a lot of work into this. We have put together a list of 64 game developers, and we are going to put them head to head. We are going to debate why they should move on and see, in our opinion, who is the ultimate developer. Just some ground rules. We have 3 criteria that we're going to try to follow. Number 1 is track record of good games. Number 2 is historical impact. And number 3 are business practices of the company. And some other ground rules here. You'll notice FromSoft is not in the list because they would win. So they are not in the list of 64. So don't be shocked. Anyway, you may not agree with our choices, but we're going to have fun with this. Nick, you put a lot of work into this. Any parting words before we start?
Yeah. So it took, we took a lot of work here to put together 64 developers and weeding them out. You may notice that some of these may double as publishers, but trust us. All of these companies on our list have developed games. And hey, if you want to follow along with us, we'll have a bracket on screen, but if you go to our socials, we'll have a downloadable bracket for you so you can fill it out or follow along as we go. And I'd just like to mention that, yes, we are doing this technically virtually, but we are currently in different rooms of my house. So welcome to the different rooms of my house, everybody.
All right, you guys ready? Let's do this. Yeah, boy. Right. All right, so here we go. Let's start off with round 1 here. Everybody get your brackets out. Let's go.
Brackets out.
So let's start right in the top left corner here. So what we've got, matchup number 1 is Activision Blizzard versus Jagex. And I'd like to intro here. So that essentially means we're putting World of Warcraft up against RuneScape, essentially. So Riley, why don't you start? We'll kind of do a round table. We'll start with Riley, go to Nick, and back to me. And then if we need to debate, we will. But Riley, go ahead.
Yeah. So for my part, the way I'm approaching this for the audience's sake is that I am going with how I feel about these companies right now. And all things considered, I'm assuming that's what you guys are doing too. But in terms of this, having not played a single second of RuneScape, I'm going with RuneScape. RuneScape is better. It's way better. It's way cooler. Fuck Activision Blizzard. Fuck everything that happened to that company. Out. Done.
Out. Nick, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was not expecting that. That's absolutely hilarious. So let me get this out of the way first. Yes, Activision Blizzard. They were not always Activision Blizzard. So we could put more developers on the list. We tried to merge ones when we could. So if you see Square Enix on here, we didn't bother, splitting up Squaresoft and Square Enix. It's just together as one company as a whole. Just putting that out there in case anybody has questions. That being said, I'm definitely of the opinion that we should put a lot more weight into what the companies have done lately rather than what they've done in the past. Mm-hmm, yeah. I do agree with that. However, I don't think Jagex has really done anything lately either. I don't know what their business practices are these days. I know from what I remember from our RuneScape episode, if you want to check that out, we did have a RuneScape retrospective in season 3. They started putting in some shady business practices into the game. Lots of microtransactions, lots of you can use real money to buy things. So I'm like, what kind of company have they become? Activision Blizzard is a terrible organization, and they have done atrocities and have done horrible things throughout the gaming industry. However, I cannot deny their past dominance with games like, I never played World of Warcraft, but games like Diablo were like my childhood. I think for this reason, I do have to say Blizzard would move on for me instead of Jagex, but
I know
it's not easy.
Tiebreaker. Let's hear
Tiebreaker, Greg.
No. Okay. This is really So let's get down to brass tacks here. Activision Blizzard is a terrible company.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because if I were to try, you can't really remove what they've done recently from your brain because it's so bad. No. But I'm essentially putting up my childhood of RuneScape versus like World of Warcraft and Diablo and huge fucking games. It's so hard.
You really you guys really sold me on that rune, like, because I watched like my friends play it when I was growing up, and you guys really sold me on that episode of RuneScape where you were talking about all the different systems and how intelligently designed it was. And I always just got a much more humble vibe from that game than I've gotten from like anything Activision Blizzard has put out. Not to deny, the hard work of all the people who have suffered under that regime, but I prefer Jagex, having never even played the game.
I really love this.
I didn't think this would happen, but the ball is falling to me. Yep. I think Jagex is going to move on because it seems like...
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Here's what's happening. Here's what happened. There are so many to get through, and I just did not expect Riley to have such like an impassioned response about RuneScape. I thought he'd say fuck it. But
no, not about this. No.
Wow.
No, so this is a surprise. Listen, Activision Blizzard is a terrible company, but there are so many of these to get through. So Jagex is moving on. So here we go. Everyone take your brackets out. Make sure we're up.
Oh my God. All right. Get the brackets out. Yep. Mark them up.
Yeah.
Jagex is moving on. That is hilarious. I'm kind of glad it happened, actually.
Me too. I see it.
Even though I picked Blizzard.
I know, but like, I don't want to have to go to bat for Blizzard. That's so hard to do.
I know.
Like,
I know. That's like the one company that's like the real dilemma here. Most of their games are incredible, but the company might be one of the worst ones ever.
You really started us out strong here. Like, wow, what a decision.
So
okay.
Right. There's a lot to get through. So this next one is really fun. So we've got Harmonix versus Gearbox. And here's a problem. I don't like any games by these companies. Like
Wait, really?
I was not. So here's the thing. Guitar Hero is really cool and Rock Band is really cool, but I don't really like playing them. And when it comes to Gearbox, correct me if I'm wrong, that is Borderlands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
What else?
Brothers in Arms?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. You didn't play Hell's Highway?
No.
It's pretty good. This is hard. You know what I'd like to do? Riley, can you start? Like, do you have an opinion either way?
No. So, I mean, you may not know this about me, but my friends and I, back in high school, like played the shit out of like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. I have a lot of fond memories with those. It was actually, it's obviously very like simple, and there was a lot of people at the time saying it's harder than a real instrument, and I'm like okay, but like it introduced me to a lot of music that I otherwise would have missed, and I really appreciate that for it. And you know what else is I had a dream last night that I saw a Borderlands movie and it fucking sucked, so that one's out for me.
You know what?
I played a little bit of the first Borderlands. I was disappointed by it. It's not for me.
So Nick, I'm going to let you go ahead, but Riley brought up a point that I didn't think about. Guitar Hero, even though it's not really for me, it did introduce me to 2 or 3 bands that when I was young, that I
a lot of really cool tech stuff going on too.
Yes.
And they're local. You got to give that to them.
So Nick, do you have a sway either way? Go ahead.
So this is a really funny one for me. I've never played a game from either of these companies. I never played. I know what Rock Band is, obviously. Or Guitar Hero. I never played any of them. I know exactly what they are. But
right.
What's really interesting about Harmonix is I could be wrong here. When the first Rock Band or Guitar Heroes came out, it was a long time ago, right? And that was really the first time that I saw video games and like video game high scores making like national news. Like they would have these Rock Band competitions. People would be scoring these crazy high scores on like Through the Fire and Flames. And
big social element there, yeah.
Yeah, as far as viral things could be back whenever that came out. It's probably the biggest video game thing to really go viral back then. The only experience I have with Borderlands is I had a roommate in college who played a lot of Borderlands. I watched a little bit of it. It didn't seem like it was for me. He seemed to be having some fun with it. It seemed all right, but I think from never playing a single game game from any of these companies, I got to give it to Harmonix. Plus, I don't think Harmonix has had any issues like social issues or anything like. I think they've been pretty squeaky clean. If that is wrong, please correct me in the comments. But I don't believe they've had any issues or anything like that.
I also like that they continue to support the game with all like the songs, and they weren't like that expensive either. It was like for months and months after the game came out. So that's pretty cool.
Good point.
Yeah, I think this is universal. I think all three of us think this is unanimous. Harmonix is going to move on.
All right. Fuck Randy Pitchford. All right.
All right. Oh my God. Okay, let's move on. We're going to go right down the list here. So the next matchup we have is THQ versus Telltale.
So
this one is interesting because we did do a deep dive into Telltale. And THQ, there's a little bit of humor here. They did make Quest 64. As you know,
we did a video on that too.
We did. That's true.
Yeah. Check that one out.
Big Quest 64 fans here, obviously. I don't know where to start. Does anyone have like maybe a gut to go on before I jump in? Maybe Riley.
I can go first.
Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, just to save Riley from going first a third time in a row, I can jump in here. So I never played a Telltale game. I only know the Telltale series from like the episode, and Greg, you played it, and I watched you play The Walking Dead season 1. It seems pretty cool. I have a lot of like nostalgia for THQ. Are they technically still around, or are they totally dead now?
I think they're done, right?
Are they totally done? I don't know. I have a lot of nostalgia. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of nostalgia for THQ games like Destroy All Humans. And I mean, I was never a big Quest 64 guy, but I did play it back in the day.
Same.
And of course, we all know about the controversy that Telltale has gone into. So I think I'm going to go with THQ, not Telltale, but that's my gut because I've never played a Telltale game, but I have played THQ games.
Riley, go.
Yeah, so I've talked at length about my admiration for a lot of what Telltale has done. I have played a few THQ games, including Destroy All Humans, which I see we've highlighted here. Yes. That's a very unique, very interesting game. I played the SpongeBob games as well. I believe
I forgot THQ did those. Yeah.
Revenge of the Flying Dutchman and
that's the game that Greg only gave me 20 seconds for on the Game Boy episode.
Yep.
gotta give it more time than that. But I do remember liking their games, but they haven't like stuck to me in the same way. So I think I'm gonna go Telltale just for this one.
I think this is hard because I love Quest 64 and it's not ironic. I also, did you guys play Darksiders?
No.
I remember. I don't know if I played it.
I like Darksiders as well. I think I am going to lean Telltale purely because if you're talking about narrative-driven games or especially like early 2010s, they really like held the torch for what it means to make a good one. And I can't help but feel bad for them. The developers who worked there, they really, they didn't, some poor treatment. We went over all of it in the episode. And when it comes to episodic and narrative games, they really led the way. And I think Walking Dead Season 1, I think, is better than the list of games we have here for both companies. I think it's the best one on the list. So I think I am going to go with Telltale. So I think that's 2 Telltale and 1 THQ. So
Telltale moves on.
Telltale's going to move on.
Sorry, Nick.
Yep. It's okay. I'm going to go and download SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom or whatever that game was called.
They just, I think, re-released it. Believe it or not.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Now, this next matchup is awesome. I really like this. We have Valve versus id. Now, what I like about this, we got Boomer Shooter versus Boomer Shooter here. And
sorta.
I don't know where to start here. Wow.
I think I could start if you want.
Yeah, please.
No, so we've done a couple we haven't done any Valve episodes. We did the Doom episode. And I like the new Dooms a lot, but I have to give it to Valve, I think. Pretty much like I have a huge list of grievances with Valve too, but like Half-Life in particular, I think is really stealing the show for me. I think it's a really well realized world, a very unique vibe. Portal, I think is okay. I get why it's so popular. Pretty innovative. In terms of, I think they're always at least like pushing boundaries and trying to do some interesting stuff with the tech, especially now they just had the VR game come out. I think I got to go with them, even though I'm frustrated that they never make part threes.
Yeah. Nick, do you have a take here or do you want me to go?
I mean, I can take. So I have some really good memories playing the original Doom, like going over friends' houses back in the day. Really good memories from those. I haven't played the new Doom games. I know they're pretty much widely considered to be great, so no knock on them there. I just think Valve's resume is just so much bigger and so much better. Even though the Doom series is awesome and people love it, Valve has just made so many lovable games for so many years. I think Valve's got to take it.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement there. I think if I were to think about our three loose criteria, like, historical impact, track record, and company practices, I mean, Valve is also Steam, and everybody plays shit on Steam.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we can't discount, even though I don't really love these games like Left 4 Dead, TF2, Dota 2, like enormous.
Huge.
I think for historical impact alone, I think Valve goes on.
Tough match for id.
Tough draw. Yeah, tough draw for id, but
sure.
Tough to go out in the first round. Good company, but Valve is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of align with Riley here where I don't really love playing their games, but I think the historical impact is just, I think it's undeniable. This next one is awesome.
This one's funny. Riley likes this one.
Oh go do it.
Okay.
Do it. Oh my
We've
God.
got Don't Nod Entertainment versus Quantic Dream.
Whoever wins, we lose.
So
we should probably remind people what games these companies made before we make decisions.
So we're laughing because this is essentially Don't Nod's Life is Strange versus Quantic Dream's Heavy Rain.
It's kind of like
Vampire here.
It's kind of like the cringe Olympics here. So shoot. I can I go? I'll start. Please. I'm really looking forward to playing Vampire after your glowing review, but I have seen a lot of footage of Life is Strange and it looks like pretty unbearable.
It's really bad.
Just like not to, it's portraying a lot of interesting kind of lesser, it's telling some, stories about, like, the first one is like a lesbian couple and like the second one is like sort of like immigrant kids on the run, I think. And I don't want to discount like the good that does, but a lot of the dialogue is really like cringy and just like it feels like an adult man writing for like teenage girls, and it's beyond the pale for me. It's too much. I have to give a little bit of credit to, because we have a Heavy Rain Quantic Dream episode. We did compliment Heavy Rain quite a bit. I think based on that alone, I have to give it to Quantic Dream.
So I'm going to take here. This is so hard because there's a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of influence here.
Yeah.
So I really liked Vampire a lot, and it really surprised me. But I have never sweated more playing a game than when I played Heavy Rain for the first time. It's one of these games where like it's one of these games where I was so into it the first time I played it. And it's almost like anecdotally funny because of how much people shit on it online. I don't think they should. I mean, like, not to beat a dead horse, but I think it's one of those things like The Room for me, where I just like, even with all like the little quirks, I enjoy it so much. Like, and I think there's a lot of success in there. Nick, do you have an opinion? Because I have a feeling I know where this is going to go, but go ahead. Do you have any? Do you have a eulogy either way? Because I think I'm going to make the decider here, but go ahead.
All right, I'll go ahead then. So I never played Life is Strange. I think from what I know about it, I think it actually got pretty good reviews back in the day. People actually liked it.
I beat the
yeah, I know. I don't think you loved it, but I know people who do. And obviously I played Vampire very recently. I really liked Vampire, but other than that, I have no real experience with Don't Nod Entertainment. And if you look at their other games, it's basically just Vampire and Life is Strange that have gotten good to mid-tier reviews. Everything else people don't tend to like from Don't Nod. And I know Quantic Dream is definitely an interesting subject in itself. I've not played a Quantic Dream game. It sounds like I probably shouldn't, except for Heavy Rain. But I think because so many companies tried to emulate what Quantic Dream did with Heavy Rain, I think I got to give it to Quantic Dream here. Even
they
though
also they always like. They don't always succeed, but they're always trying to do something interesting. Like that one we talk about, their first one where you're jumping to different like bodies, like when someone is killed. Like that's pretty cool. But
I like innovation, so I got to go with Quantic Dream here. I mean, big ups to Vampire from Don't Not Entertainment. I really like that game. I think it deserves a lot more love than it currently gets. But Quantic Dream is my vote.
Yeah, so Universal, we're gonna go Quantic Dream here, unanimous. I agree. Quantic Dream is the kind of company where even if I don't like it, I'm always interested in what they're doing. So I think we're gonna move on. And Quantic Dream is gonna win this. Okay, so next, I don't have a lot of passion. I don't have a lot of passion for this either way. We have Sega versus Tecmo. And so if you guys reference your cheat sheet here, what we've got is essentially you have Sonic versus Neo and Ninja Gaiden.
And Dynasty Warriors. A lot of people like Dynasty Warriors.
Wow. This is hard. I think in my brain I'm leaning Sonic, but it might be nostalgia driven. Anyone else?
I can take it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So for me, I put a lot more value into what the company has done lately. And Tecmo, they're now known as Koei Tecmo, I believe, but they're doing a lot right now. Whether it's Dynasty Warriors, they made a lot. They cooperated with Intelligent Systems to make Fire Emblem Three Houses. I believe they've also made the Fire Emblem Warriors games. Warriors games are not my favorite, but Koei Tecmo is alive and well, and they're doing a lot. I can't tell you the last time I bought a Sega game and said I love this.
Yeah.
So my vote is Tecmo.
Riley, go.
Shoot. Yeah, no like strong feelings here. I think I am going to wind up going with Sega just because I'm not as familiar with those games. I have played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors, I think 5 maybe, and I liked it. But I didn't like what I played of Neo. I'm not familiar with their other work, as you mentioned there. And Sega, I think I just have like the tiniest bit more respect for still, like where even though I can't remember like the last time they accomplished something, like I'm thinking about like the Dreamcast was really cool, you know, the online capability that was pretty innovative, and how much, you know, I feel like that was it just didn't work out, but it was a great launch, and I think the company is kind of just ill-fated. So, but I have had a lot of good experiences with Sega when I was a young lad, and I think that's my vote.
You know what sucks? A lot of our listeners may not have been born when the Dreamcast came out.
Yeah.
Wow, it's rough. That's rough to think about.
I'm sorry.
Do I have to decide here?
You're the decider.
I think I am gonna go Tecmo.
What? Oh, that's surprising.
Because when it comes to this company is relevant now, they collaborated on the new Fire Emblem. Ninja Gaiden has a good reputation. I hated Neo. And here's the thing, like, but Sonic isn't my thing either, and that's totally nostalgia driven. I think I'm gonna go Tecmo, but I'm not really passionate either way. So
you know what it is? We're not Neo people here, but I can respect what they did with Neo, even though I don't really like it. I respect the direction they went in. It seems people like it. Seems like it's decent, just not for me.
Let's move on. So this next one is interesting. We got some powerhouses here. We're going to continue down the list. We've got CD Projekt Red and Rocksteady.
Whew.
Wow. So what are we parsing this down to? We're essentially parsing this down to The Witcher versus Arkham, really, right?
If you want to count Cyberpunk.
I mean,
yeah,
we got to.
You have to, right? It's their most recent game. You have
Riley, you have some passion for Batman. Do you want to start?
That's pretty funny. Yeah,
That's
so
I'm right.
I do
not wrong. Yeah.
I do really admire a lot of what I've seen of CD Projekt Red, including Cyberpunk. There seems to be a lot of creative ideas at play there, and they seem to be pretty focused on improving that game. That being said, we've kind of got this in the works, spoiler, but went through the Arkhams pretty recently. There are 4 of them. There's only one bad one, and it was made by their Montreal team. And I have a lot more respect for it now as an adult, even more because this came out, like the first one came out in 2009, I believe. And I was really curious how they would hold up to scrutiny, and they're very tightly designed, and there's a lot of variety in the gameplay. And I'm just, I really admire how much attention to detail there was. So I'm going to go with Rocksteady.
Nick, go ahead. Cause I don't know yet. Maybe you guys can sway me.
This is a tough one for me. I haven't played any of the Batman games. I know I should. From what you both rave about them pretty highly. They're very well liked universally. Yep. Even the bad one, even if you discount the bad one, the three other ones are pretty much universal acclaim for all of them. CD Projekt Red, I know I've played Witcher 2 and Witcher 3. I have not played Cyberpunk. I did not finish Witcher 3. The Witcher is really cool. I do think CD Projekt Red has a knack for storytelling and narrative. I know they're adapted from books, but they had to do something. So they have a pretty good knack for video game story, even if it is adapted from novels.
Seems to be a lot of passion for sure.
Yeah, man. But like, what happened with Cyberpunk really just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. How they released that, because like CD Projekt Red was seen, and like if you think about it, like The Witcher 3 was a long time ago now. 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since they've put out like a good quality game. I'm not counting Cyberpunk as a good quality game, and even if it gets there.
Talking about these games, it was hard for me to choose, but I like Arkham Asylum more than any games that I've played by CD Projekt Red. So I think I'm also going to go Rocksteady. 30-second eulogy, and we're going to move on. So CD Projekt Red, for me, I have finished all the Witcher games. I wanted to play Cyberpunk, and then I ran scared away from it.
I bought it for you, and I returned it because of everything that happened. Yeah,
exactly. So I really like games like Deus Ex and things like that, and I was ready, for something like that, and it clearly is still not ready. And Arkham Asylum is awesome. With CD Projekt Red, their games are very mature. The acting is really good. I like all their scripting, but I just can't have them move on just because of that, and my vote is irrelevant. So Rocksteady is moving on.
I think it's a tough draw for CD Projekt Red. I think if they had faced another developer in this bracket, they may have moved on. Because I think CD Projekt Red is a good company.
Dude, I actually think this is a very even matchup because you have 3 games that are good and 1 game that's bad from both.
Actually, good point. I like that.
So let's move on. This one is really funny if you're our age. So this one is Infinity Ward versus DICE. Now, what I would like to say about this is these are 2 companies that in 2010, I would say I fucking love these companies. But in 2022, I hate them both.
For our younger audience, can we say what games they've made?
Yes.
Yeah. For our younger audience,
so if we're going to go back to 2010, you may be familiar with Battlefield if you're a DICE fan. If you are an Infinity Ward fan, you may know what Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is. So you essentially have Infinity Ward, the Call of Duty juggernaut, versus DICE, the Battlefield juggernaut. And this is hard because I loved these companies at one point in my life, and now I can't stand them.
So I can start. I can get the ball rolling here a little bit. I just want to distinguish, I guess, because this is not. We're not talking about the Infinity Ward that became Respawn. So we're talking. That's what you want, right? Like that's where we're making it clear. Yeah. So this is Infinity Ward when it became the Call of Duty machine versus DICE, which has kind of been like the same thing the whole time. I know as I understand it, I don't play them religiously, that these DICE games have a lot of problems. I don't know, because I like the base experience of Battlefront 2. They just like screwed it all up with everything in between. And once they kind of removed some of those elements, it was a lot more fun. And I was a huge fan of Battlefield 1, which reminded me a lot of the Call of Duty of yore. It was kind of that same tone, wasn't so invasive in your face. Whenever I see a new Call of Duty, I'm like, I don't give a flying fuck about any of this. It's like, it all looks so homogenous to me, and I just have to give it to DICE, I think. Wait, yeah, DICE didn't do Dead Space, right? Do we have them on here? No, okay.
No, we don't. That was an offshoot of EA. Nick, do you have a take?
This is an interesting one for me because I really don't play any games from either of these companies. Was DICE responsible for the Battlefield debacle that happened like last year or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Remember some game came out like incredibly unfinished and it was just so horribly awful.
Yes.
Was it 5?
So we have,
is that the one?
Yeah. Was that it? So we have that versus the COD churner every single year. Mm-hmm. For me, this is probably the worst matchup possible because I want to eliminate them both.
In due time.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, fuck it. Call of Duty sucks. I'm just gonna give it to DICE. Whatever.
So, what are the votes right now?
2 dice, I think.
2 dice.
So no dice. So no dice for Infinity Ward. But Greg, it looks like
no dice for you.
I am a little surprised you guys rolled the dice that way.
Hey.
This is why. I love Battlefield Bad Company 2. It was one of the most fun multiplayer games I've ever had. But Call of Duty 4 influenced games for the next 20 fucking years. Like Call of Duty 4, it revolutionized what a first-person shooter is.
But that was Respawn, right?
No,
like
Call
that.
of Duty,
those guys went on to make Respawn.
Well, yes, but Call of Duty 4 was Infinity Ward, and they influenced gaming forever. And that's hard because I feel like DICE really hasn't. They just keep fucking it up.
I know, but like the Infinity Ward team now, it's like Bungie. Bungie has changed so much in its makeup. And I'm trying to differentiate the talent between, it's like we're not going by brand here. We're going by people, right? Like that kind of like era. I'm thinking it's, for me, I see it's like Harmonix, they created Guitar Hero and then they moved on to make Rock Band. Like they were kind of the originators of Guitar Hero. It's their idea. So I'm thinking that I want to put the old Call of Duties in with the Respawn guys. That's where my head's at anyway. Mm-hmm. So
I think, are we rolling with DICE?
I'm going with DICE.
Yeah, I think we're going to roll DICE. Let's move on. Okay. Okay, so this one,
this one's funny.
This one's going to be really quick. Someone was going to get eliminated right off the bat. So this next one is Nintendo versus Techland. We don't really need to do any takes here, so let's just eulogize Techland real quick. So Techland is Dying Light, it's Dead Island, and we've put that up against Mario and Zelda. We knew at some point someone was going to get rolled by Nintendo.
Do you just want to say a few words about the games that Techland has made? Because I haven't played either of them.
Yeah,
I'd be
sure.
interested to know.
I've beaten a couple of them. And this is pretty par for the course. If you listen to me talk, I do not like any of them. So this is why I don't know. I don't know if I could vote for Techland for anything really. So right when 2010 or so is when Dead Island came out, and that big trailer
that everyone thought was like, wow. But
the trailer for Dead Island was so cool, where it was like a little girl falling out of a window, and you're like, whoa, is this going to be like an emotional zombie game? Nope. It's going to be
it's going in like reverse, right?
Yes.
You're seeing what happened. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not that kind of game at all.
No.
It's a tonally completely different experience.
And like when it came out, it was a Borderlands-y arcadey stupid game.
Yeah.
And the thing about Dying Light is it's just Dead Island with Mirror's Edge parkour. And you would think that's a really cool combo. But these guys, they just can't write a story. Like they're too silly. And I can't do it. And also it's Nintendo. Like, okay, I don't know, Ocarina of Time. I don't know, Mario.
Let's just say that Nintendo is probably going to go pretty far in this one.
Yeah. So can I say one thing about Nintendo before we move to the next category? Okay. So Nintendo is an interesting one. Obviously, they are one of the best developers of all time. And we are just viewing Nintendo as a developer, not a publisher, for the record here. But we're also viewing them as a company. Will Nintendo's overly litigious practices and all the really bad things that they've done over the past few years to limit how people can actually enjoy their games, their price gouging for games on the Switch, charging $30 for games that came out 20 years ago, I wonder how much their reputation of Zelda and Mario will carry them despite their current business practices.
I feel like you should have a Sports Center desk in front of you. I don't know if we're going to make it that far.
This is a Nick Schefter with goddamn Gamecube. So yeah, for sure. So we will definitely talk about that as we move on. For sure, Nick, great point. Nintendo is notoriously litigious. They are not a very nice company unless you are a child with money and you buy their games. So here we go. Let's move on. So obviously Nintendo's moving on. So Jackbox versus 343.
I love this one.
So Can
I go first?
Yeah, you can, but I'm not going to take yet. I actually love this one because both of these companies in my brain puts them in the couch co-op companies or in the you play games with your friends.
Depends on which one.
Exactly.
They haven't made many.
That's why we put them together. So Nick, why don't you go first and we'll take it from there.
So I love Jackbox games. They really, especially the past couple of years too, while we've dealt with the pandemic, they've made their services very accessible for people playing all around the world together. I've had a lot of fun with Jackbox. Years and years ago, we would have get-togethers actually here in this very same condo. People would come over, we'd play Quiplash for hours, we'd have a great time. I have a lot of good memories of Jackbox. Greg, you once made fun of me because I have like 600 gamer score because of like the Jackbox party packs, which is very funny. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I still play Jackbox games to this day. I think I bought the most recent pack a few weeks ago. They only make one series of games. They just make Jackbox Party Pack and some other offshoot games. That's all they do, but they do it very well. 343, I don't really care about them. So Jackbox is moving forward.
I do not want to take because I want to see what Riley has to say. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So, no, I've played very little of Jackbox, maybe a few hours, just socially. And it's a very simple idea. I can see it maybe if you play it a lot, maybe getting a little old, like some of the, like anything, Mario Party, those don't last forever. But I think they are a lot better at what they're trying to do than 343 Industries is. You mentioned couch co-op. Neither Halo 5 nor Halo Infinite have that feature. I mean, we've covered it all in our recent Halo episode, our previous ones. That the sort of destiny of the Halo franchise, if you'll pardon the pun, is quite up in the air. So I think if management gets their stuff together, maybe my answer will change in a couple of years. But for right now, I think Jackbox is the winner.
Yep. So Jackbox is moving on. I have the exact same point where I still play Jackbox games occasionally in a party setting, and I do not play 343 games at all because I have not been impressed by a single one. So, because I mean, what was my quote about Halo? I'm consistently not impressed, and Riley is consistently disappointed.
Yeah.
Is that,
pretty much.
That about wraps that. So, Jackbox is moving on. This next one is interesting. We've got Capcom versus Sony Santa Monica Studios. So to me, this breaks down to, do you like Resident Evil and Mega Man, or are you a God of War kind of, I don't know, action game sort of person? My take is really easy right away. Like I have to go Capcom because I think with them, not only do I really like the Mega Man spin-off games, I obviously am a Resident Evil fan. And even though I've had a love-hate relationship with that franchise, like when I was a little kid, I loved them. I went through a hateful period with Capcom. Then they had a little revival. I don't know how I feel about them right now, but they've made so many games that I like. I think I have to go Capcom personally. Riley, why don't you go next? Because I know you spent some time with God of War recently.
Yeah. So, did these people do the old God of Wars?
As
or just
far
the new
as I'm
ones?
aware, it's the same talent.
I believe.
Okay.
Yes, I believe you're right. Yes.
All right. So I just think that for how much we drag the bad elements of the Resident Evil games, I still have a very positive few of them. I have made it through a good chunk of the Devil May Cry series, and I like those quite a lot. And I don't know how much I'm assuming they have a good amount to do with it, the Marvel versus Capcom games. I have the second one on an emulator, and it's a lot of fun. I think I gotta go with Capcom, because I haven't played the new God of War.
Nick, do you have? I mean, Capcom's going to win. Do you have anything to say about these companies in particular? Because you have some experience with them.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with Capcom is actually really funny because the only Capcom games I've played are Breath of Fire and like the Zelda handhelds they made, and like Mega Man Battle Network. That's really all I've played.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do like them. So Capcom's a weird company. They were like one of the best companies, right? They made some of the best games like 20 years ago, and then they sucked for a few years. Then, like you said, Greg, they had a little bit of a revival, a little bit. Now they kind of suck again. But honestly, I have some really good memories with those handheld Zeldas, Mega Man Battle Network, Breath of Fire, where, I actually, I don't know if this is a hot take. I really like the direction that Santa Monica Studio has taken with God of War. I think the hack and slash of the past is it's outdated now. So I'm glad they took God of War in a different direction, and I'm glad to see people really like it. I would like to play them one day. I haven't played the new ones. I actually have it like right over there. I should play it. I actually think I would like it a lot. And while I do respect that, I think Capcom's resume really shines for me, and I'm going to go with Capcom.
Yeah. So Capcom's moving on. Nick, really well said. Capcom's resume is, I think, what puts it forward. Yep. I like the new God of War, but not enough to do away with Capcom's resume. So let's move on. We've got HAL Laboratories versus Epic Games. Now this is interesting because I think right off the bat, I'm not going to take, but let's do a little impact. Epic Games, how can you deny the industry impact of Fortnite? Or how can you deny the industry impact of I don't know, the Epic Games Store and
acquiring Bandcamp as of recently.
And
that's weird. Okay.
Also, Gears of War. I love Gears, at least the first one, anyway. And HAL Laboratory, kind of a quirky thing, like Smash Bros, Kirby, Earthbound, like kind of a quirky Nintendo offshoot. I'm not going to take right now. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say first. Nick, can you start?
Yeah, I'll start. Man, this is a tough one for me too, because while I haven't played a ton of what Epic has put out, I love the first Gears of War. That game's awesome.
So good, man.
Like, even for me, who I am not good at shooting games, I typically don't like them. I loved the first Gears of War.
Nick,
it's a fantastic game.
Nick, can we do a little story time? Because I don't know. I don't know when the next time we're going to be able to bring this up is. I remember Christmas Day 2006. We got an Xbox 360 for Christmas, and the first thing, it could have been the second thing that we played was Gears of War. And when you chainsawed somebody for the first time, I cried laughing. Like, I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. But I mean, I can't really deny, like, Smash Brothers. We've also had so many fun memories playing. Like, Nick, do you have a take right now? Do you have a vote either way?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm not a competitive Smash Brothers player by any means whatsoever.
I thought you were going to call yourself a Smash Brother. I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that before.
Maybe it's a new term. Maybe I just made a new term. Yeah. But I have put so many hours of my life into pretty much every single release of Super Smash Brothers ever since the very first one at N64. I mean, I'm known to dabble in a Kirby game every now and then, less so recently, but one just came out or is just coming out as we're recording this. It looks pretty good, looks pretty fun. Kirby can eat a car and become a car. I mean, that's pretty sweet. So obviously Earthbound and like Mother 3, those games are like, they're games that Nintendo fans want to be re-released. Like, I mean, they're old at this point. But for me, I think just because of my love of Smash Brothers, I have to go with HAL. Although this is a tough choice for me just because of how much I really like Gears of War. But I'm going HAL.
Do you have a take?
Yeah, so I'm very respectful of the Fortnite machine. I really love the first two Gears of War. Third one is kind of when they lost me, I think. But a lot of fond memories of those games, and when you had your birthday party, and I put it on, and then I just thought it'd be really funny. And Nick and I played some Gears of War. That was
we played
awesome.
like the entire first act. That was great.
Yeah.
We just had the first Gears of War just playing, just so anyone could pick it up and play it.
Yeah. In the back, I mean, and it was great. I think it's iconic. But I have played Super Smash Bros. Melee more than a lot of games. That was a huge one for me. I believe it was a launch title, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
And not even like competitively, because I didn't really have many people to play with, just like messing around with like the AI, like level 9 AI and all that stuff. A lot of fond memories of that. Kirby, I could like take or leave, to be honest with you. I played some of the Game Boy ones and they were like, okay. But I have seen a lot of the Mother Earthbound kind of stuff, and it's just watched some gameplay of that, and it looks super creative. So I'm going to go with Hal on this one.
Yeah, sure. I think you guys could sway me to make this a universal vote, I think. So yeah, I love Gears of War. The Fortnite machine, as you said, is undeniable. But I think with Smash Brothers and Kirby and Earthbound, I think you got to go Hal. So Hal's going to move on. Why don't we?
How about that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let's.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'll stop.
This one, I have respect for both of these. Well, I should.
Oh boy.
I
really?
Should say. I shouldn't say that. I have past respect for these two companies we're about to talk about. Konami versus IO Interactive. That's how I pronounce it. So essentially what we've got here is we've got Konami, you've got Dead Silent Hill and Dead Metal Gear and Dead Castlevania versus Active Hitman. So Riley, I think I am going to take here. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think I have to pick Konami because of how good their not their track record, but historical impact of their games are.
Yeah.
And I just think I like Konami games more than I like Hitman Blood Money, which I think is the best IO game. I got to go Konami for me, but Riley, can you take?
Yeah. So, despite, everything, every terrible thing that is associated with Konami, I mean, so much talent has come in and out of there, as we know. Silent Hill, MGS, and Castlevania are the big franchises. I like all of those to some degree. I haven't actually played anything that IO has made, and it feels like maybe a rough role for them to be matched up against Konami. But no, I'm going to cast in for the Metal Gear Titans, as it were.
Yeah. Now, Nick, so Konami wins no matter what. I mean, do you have a take either way, or would you like us to move on?
I mean, I don't really have a take. I don't play any of the games from either of these companies. I just think it's interesting that basically these two companies were both basing it off of what they've done in the past, because the current Hitman games are apparently not great. And Konami is.
No, I've heard great things about the new Hitman.
I thought, Greg, didn't you? Is this something that Greg doesn't like, but everybody else likes? Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So
okay, never mind.
This is let's clear the air here. The latest Hitman games are well received. They're not for me. I think Blood Money was a one and done for me. But yeah, Konami's going on, even though that hurts, and I can't stand them. But they are moving on. So this one is cool. We've got Naughty Dog versus Platinum. So Naughty Dog, they have made some incredibly well-received titles, The Last of Us and Uncharted. And if we're talking Platinum, you've got Bayonetta, you've got Nier, Astral Chain, two huge action game companies. Riley, do you mind going first? Do you maybe have a strong opinion here?
Yeah, sure. So the only Naughty Dog games that I really care about are Crash Bandicoot. And,
I forgot they did Crash.
Yeah, and Platinum I haven't played a ton of, but I am going to give it to Platinum on Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance alone.
I love that answer.
Even though
they made that.
Even though I don't love that game, it's pretty representative of like the style of what they do. Is very slick, involved action games, a lot of combo moves and stuff. And a lot of style while you're at it, kind of a lot of very distinct visual flair. They're not all winners as far as I know, but I am a big fan of the way Nier looks. Naughty Dog, it's undeniable that they're huge. I definitely want to finish Last of Us, and the second one is out now. I was never really drawn to that world. It felt very kind of I've seen it before kind of thing. But Uncharted was okay. Those were okay games, but I don't want to like go back to them. They just had the movie come out and apparently was very good.
Oh, it's not? Ooh.
Apparently not, but Platinum for me.
So wait, a video game movie wasn't good? Oh, wow. Yeah, shocker.
Are you serious?
So Nick, I'm going to take here before you go in. I think all things considered, I'm actually going to go with Naughty Dog because I like The Last of Us more than any other game that I'm sort of like between these two companies. So Uncharted, I didn't really like it. Platinum Games, I hate Bayonetta. And like what I tend to think about, if we were to talk about one of the mantras that's important to me when I play a game, if I'm playing a game and someone walks into the room, I don't want to be embarrassed that I'm playing it. And I think The Last of Us, I'm purely talking about the first one. I really love that game. Like, and I'm not an Uncharted fan, but everything about The Last of Us worked for me. And I know maybe that's not maybe the most popular opinion. Some people don't like the stealth stuff, or they don't really like how it's kind of an interactive movie. I disagree with that. I love The Last of Us, so I'm going to go with Naughty Dog, which means we've got a Naughty Dog vote and a Platinum vote, and I hate Bayonetta, so Nick, please take.
Oh, okay. So this is an interesting one for me. All right. So this is very interesting for me because I haven't really played a lot of Naughty Dog. I actually haven't played a ton of Platinum either. I will say I am not a big fan of over-the-top action number combo kind of games. Although I hear Astral Chain is very good. I actually have it downloaded on my Switch. I haven't played it. I hear Astral Chain is a very good game, and I probably will give it a go at some point. Now, for me, as I've gotten older, while I still appreciate gameplay. Like a game has to have engaging gameplay no matter how good everything else is, or else I'm going to drop it. But as I've gotten older, I need a little bit more to keep me going. And Naughty Dog gives you that in its storytelling and its narrative. Even if you don't like the gameplay that much, you can't deny that you can get a little bit of feels from The Last of Us or even Uncharted. Mm-hmm. And this might come as a surprise to people, but I'm actually going to go with Naughty Dog on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have some love and hate for both of them, but they're both pretty reputable. Mm-hmm. We're going to go with Naughty Dog. So Naughty Dog is moving on. So let's move on here.
This one's going to hurt me, I think.
This one hurts. So
this one's going to hurt me.
The next one we've got in the bracket here, we've got some maybe indie darlings here. Not really indie darlings, but a little undercurrent companies. We've got Camelot versus Arcane. And so a little background, Camelot is Golden Sun and then a lot of weird stuff like Mario Golf and Mario.
They make a lot of the Mario sports games. Yeah.
Yeah. So they essentially are like RPG geniuses that have to make Mario sports games to like pay the bills.
They also made Shining Force back in the day.
That's I'll reiterate my point. They are RPG like masterminds that have to make Mario sports games to pay the bills. And Arcane, they are the Dishonored people. Death Loop, which was terrible. Prey 2017. This is hard.
Is it? It's pretty easy for me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, well, here's the thing. Now, Riley, I'm not going to pick on you, but I will for a sec.
Uh-oh. Oh,
why?
I don't. Why?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
What did I do to deserve this?
I think you said to me a couple of weeks ago, like, Dishonored looks stupid. I don't want to play it.
It does. It looks like shit. Deathloop looks like shit. God. I don't know anything about Prey. Wolfenstein Youngblood, is that the new one? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Camelot all the way. I haven't played much, but I liked what I played of Golden Sun. Everybody had a great time with Mario Golf and Tennis. I don't know what Shining Force is, but I'm going with Camelot.
Nick, so before you take
am I going to take next? Okay.
You're going to be the decider, I think. You may.
Ooh, okay.
So I really like the first Dishonored. The second one is fine. Deathloop is awful. I'm not going to rant about it right now, but I have no idea how that game reviewed well. It was probably one of the worst games I've played in the past year. Prey, yeah, we'll talk about that in video form at some point. Prey 2017 is one of those System Shock Deus Ex kind of games. It is unrelated to the Native American story from 2006. People love Prey 2017 and people love Dishonored. So this is actually harder for me than you would think. Oh, wow. But Golden Sun, if we're going over to the Camelot side, Golden Sun is Final Fantasy and Pokemon put together, and it's really, really good. Wow. Nick, I want you to decide. I don't know if I can. Maybe you can convince me. Go ahead.
All right. Well,
let's do this,
I have not played an arcane game. From what I've seen of Dishonored and Deathloop, I don't really want to play one, to be honest with you. Obviously, I hold Golden Sun 1 and Golden Sun 2 in very high regard. Like, if we talk about childhood defining games, Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age are way up there for me with like the original, with like Fire Emblem 7. They're like right there on that upper echelon of games. We talked about Golden Sun a little bit in our Game Boy Advance nostalgia episode. Check that out if you want to hear more about Golden Sun. And even if we leave the RPG stuff aside, because I did play Shining Force, that was all right. Even if you leave that aside, Greg, I know we had a lot of fun with the original Mario Tennis. Was that original? The N64 Mario Tennis. I know the most recent ones haven't been the most highly regarded ones ever. And I don't think the most recent Mario Golf has a lot of staying power. It got talked about for a while, but I haven't heard anybody bring it up since. But for me, just because of how awesome Golden Sun 1 and 2 are, there is no way I'm not picking Camelot for this.
Okay. Yeah. So Camelot is going to move on.
Let's go. Let's go. Fuck yeah, Camelot.
Yeah, sure. I'll roll with you on it. Golden Sun is great. We had a lot of fun with Mario Tennis. And I mean, to be honest, like I like Dishonored, and Prey set 2017 was all right, but I mean, Deathloop is awful. So that company's done. So this next one is very interesting. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to pronounce it Zaum.
I think it's Zaum.
Zaum. Okay.
Zaum. Okay.
So we have Zaum, which is Disco Elysium versus Kojima Productions, which for right now it is just Death Stranding.
Okay, so we're just going
hell,
like
I spelled it wrong on the bracket.
We're just going the new Kojima Productions.
We're essentially going for hip new companies that have only made one game, which is Disco Elysium versus Death Stranding. For me personally, I have to go Disco Elysium 100% for me. I have never played a game that is a point and click like Nancy Drew game, but it's also a Dungeons and Dragons dice roll game. And it's not perfect. Spoilers, we are going to talk about it at some point in the upcoming months. I have just never played a game like that. And I have played too many games and I just feel like I'm too jaded. But with Disco Elysium,
that's true.
Yeah, that is true. It is incredibly unique. And I don't know. I think I was just more impressed by Disco Elysium than I was with Death Stranding. But Riley, why don't you take, because you're a big Kojima guy and you played both. So go ahead.
Yes. So I am, as faithful as I am to Mr. Kojima, I am going to give it to Zaum as well. Because I played through Death Stranding, and I think it is incredible. It has so many insane ideas I've never seen before. I never would have thought of. But I think it just goes to show like how quality Disco Elysium is, that I am going to give it to that game because it is just so polished to a shine. Everything they seemingly wanted to implement was perfectly done. I could be here all day talking about it. It just feels to me, if it's that game versus Death Stranding, essentially, it feels a lot more coherent. It feels like a lot more thought was put into every tiny little thing. No insult to the Death Stranding team, but I'm going with Zaum on this one.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk too much about Disco Elysium on this episode because we are going to be doing it in the upcoming season. But Nick, do you want to maybe just say a few words and we're going to move on?
Yeah, this one was pretty interesting because this is basically a battle between two companies that have made one game, and both pretty new companies too, within the last few years. I am not going to, detract from Zaum because they didn't get that job. I'm not going to hold it against them. It's fine. I'm not salty. No, but Disco Elysium is really cool. It's going to move on. Even if it doesn't go much farther than this, I am curious what Zaum is going to do in the future.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the other side of the bracket.
So we've gotten through half of the first round.
Yeah, so this is really easy. So the next one is Tencent versus Irrational, and I am picking Irrational.
Fuck Tencent, man.
Wait. So let's explain Tencent for the audience. Let's explain Irrational.
I think it might be funnier to read what Nick's description is.
Sure.
So just so the audience knows, we did provide some preparation notes for this episode because there's a lot to mull over. So Nick's definition of Tencent games: COD Mobile, most of the really shitty mobile games, owner of a lot of devs, shares in companies. So that's very funny. When I think Tencent games, I just think freemium, I think mobile, I think cell phone, and I think get me away from this.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. And Irrational games, shout out to your local boys. Again. Mm-hmm. So Irrational, if you think BioShock, BioShock alone, 2007, 2006. That's just, talk about it, one of those, almost like a Disco Elysium thing where with BioShock, everything they implemented and every ounce of what they tried to do, it almost all worked perfectly. But we may talk about it in the future, so I'm not going to say too much.
Hey, and if you haven't, please listen to Greg's interview with our man Bill Gardner. He's our dude.
Yes, please, let's plug that. Yes, absolutely. Great interview.
That's a great conversation. Learn a lot. Love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah.
Yep.
So we did do an interview with Bill Gardner, who was the lead level designer of BioShock. He was a creative designer of BioShock Infinite. Really insightful dude. We'll link it in this video. I think to me it's obvious it's Irrational games, even though they no longer exist. And I think Tencent you're bordering on poisonous to industry company.
Yeah. I don't see, I feel like that might be the bottom of all of these.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tough match for Tencent. Anyway, you cut it.
I don't really think we need to overly take on this.
To be honest, dude, I could make a game tomorrow and I would put my development company over Tencent. Yeah. Fuck those guys. Yeah. I hate all of those guys, all of those games.
We don't need to.
They're only on here because they're one of the biggest in the world. They kind of have to be. Yeah.
There's no reason for us to belabor this. So it's Irrational.
Yep.
Let's move on. Ooh. So this one I think maybe easier than I'm oohing. So it's Square Enix versus Respawn. So for me, what this comes down to is the history of Final Fantasy and an RPG like Brain Trust versus Titanfall 2. And I think
Alice.
Yeah. And
as I said, those are the guys who did the original CODs, so they're gonna give them some respect there.
I think I'd actually like Riley and Nick to take before me. So Riley, if you don't mind taking.
No, I am going to cast some unfortunate doubt on my decision here, because it's hard for me to deny the influence that Square has had, but I haven't played any of those games really, so I am going to give it to Respawn just out of ignorance.
I respect it.
Just in terms of, I've had my hands on it and I've heard a lot of gripes about Square in recent years, so I gotta give it to what I know. So, but you guys have played a lot more than I have, so you go on.
Nick, go ahead. Let's do a quick take.
Yeah, this one's interesting because the recent Square is terrible. Like pretty much everything they've put out in the last 5 years has been awful. Final Fantasy 15, I don't hate it as much as everybody else. I was fine. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, the game is good. What they're doing with it is fucking abysmal. So this is another company where I'm going to ultimately pick Square Enix because of their history. Keep in mind, we're also lumping them together when they were Square Soft, when they were Square, whatever. For the purposes of this bracket, we're lumping all of those together. I have a rich history with all of the early Final Fantasy games. You could argue that the mid 90s, maybe even early 90s to the mid to late 2000s was like one of the most impressive runs by a video game developer ever, which was Square Enix's run from that amount of time, putting out just like banger after banger after banger. I mean, then they started. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say they had about 12 years of dominance, really.
Yeah, where like everything they put out was a must buy and a must have.
That's not bad. Now, all things considered, not many of these guys can say that.
No, so I'm picking Square based on that. They have recently put out a lot of shit games and they've become very microtransaction-y. They just put out a game called Chocobo Racing, which is apparently one of the it costs money and it is one of the biggest like microtransaction games you can get. And apparently a lot of children are falling prey to buying a bunch of shit in that game. Very bad. I'm going with Square for their reputation. No, I'm going with Square on reputation alone, but I'm wondering if that sort of thing is going to sink them in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Of this bracket.
I think you got to go Square in this. There are too many iconic titles that they've made. Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy in general, Dragon Quest. I mean, I don't like Kingdom Hearts, but throw that in there. I mean, there's too many iconic titles, dude. Final Fantasy 7 versus Titanfall 2, it's no contest. So Square, even though they may not survive the bracket, let's move on.
Oh boy.
Okay. I actually really like this next one. This is Remedy versus Sucker Punch. And just for our audience, Remedy is Alan Wake, Control. I'm just going to look at the camera and Max Payne. And if
Greg loves Control.
It's vile, according to our guys at Rooster Teeth. And I agree. Anyway, and with Sucker Punch,
listen to that episode. That's a good one.
That's
too.
Right. It's a good one.
We have with Sucker Punch, you've got Ghost of Tsushima, Sly Cooper, Infamous. Wow. This one is hard. Because I have some like and dislike for both of them, and I may need other people to sway me. Like Riley, do you want to start? Could you start this, or would you want me to kick it off?
It won't be that interesting, but no, I have not heard a lot from people I trust. I have not. Control was very well received, but you and the Rooster Teeth dude and Heather Ann Campbell of How Did This Get Played all dislike this game. So I am trusting you implicitly.
That's dangerous.
However,
that's a very dangerous thing. Yeah,
I have heard a lot of great things about Max Payne. I've heard they're a lot of fun. And I really did love Alan Wake. I played a long time ago. I'm looking forward to playing it again because they just announced a sequel. I haven't played, I don't think, any of these Sucker Punch games. Ghost of Tsushima looks very, very beautiful. I enjoyed listening to you and Kyle talk about that on a previous episode. I remember your Sly Cooper, that was like a long time ago, right? Like those are, wow.
Yeah. Old. Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in a while. And Infamous never really appealed to me. So I'm going to go with Remedy on this one.
Nick, do you have a take either way, or you can pass to me?
I don't have a take either way, but I'm going to make your life more stressful because I'm going to pick the one that Riley didn't and go with Sucker Punch. So you have to make the decision. Reason being, I haven't played a ton. I haven't played a ton of these games from Remedy or Sucker Punch. What I've seen of Ghost of Tsushima, I would like to play it someday. I think I would like it.
Sure.
I don't think I would love it, but I think I would at least enjoy it. It seems very open world tropey to me, but I think I would at least like playing it. Whereas Remedy, I haven't really played any Remedy games. Control and those recent titles don't really appeal to me all that much, although I hear Max Payne is very good. Those are older, right? There hasn't been a new Max Payne in a long time.
Yeah. 2010, I think was the third one.
Yeah. So Riley, you said Remedy?
Yep. I said Remedy.
All right. So I'm going to say Sucker Punch. Greg, have fun.
Okay. Let me debate with my inner brain of milk falling over and spilling.
Patrick Star.
Exactly. So let me weigh this. Let's go into my brain here. I'm not going to take too long.
Oh God.
Alan Wake, I really liked it. Control, I hated it. Ghost of Tsushima, it's all right. It looks great. Infamous is all right. I think what's gonna happen is I am gonna go with Remedy just because they are one of those companies where I'm very interested in what they're doing next, even if I don't like it.
Sure.
So this is hard. They're both reputable companies for as much as I mudsling at them. And I think we're gonna go with Remedy. So let's move on.
All right, Remedy's moving on. Oh, this one's interesting. Next matchup.
Ooh, wow. Okay, so the next matchup, we've got Blue Point Games and we've got Guerrilla Games. So, quick rundown. Blue Point Games, they are very famous for doing remakes and remasters. Shadow of the Colossus remake, very well received. Demon Souls remake, very well received. They made a better looking Dark Souls game than FromSoft does, which is interesting.
They did.
Guerrilla Games, Horizon Zero Dawn, well received. Killzone, well received. And as Nick points out, they made Tiny Toons Adventures, in parenthesis, very important.
Is that the Game Boy one?
I think so. Yeah.
My first Game Boy, my first game, really.
Really?
That's interesting. But
yeah, I told you that one was important.
Wow. What a. Ooh.
Does anyone want to start?
I can go first. I haven't gone first in a while.
Reasoning here is going to be hard. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think these are both very good companies. I think it's a shame that one of them has to go out here. I think ultimately, man, I have not played a ton of Horizon Zero Dawn. I just wasn't in an open world mood when I started playing it. I think I do have to go back to it. I would like to. And the next one just came out, about a month ago, and it seems to have been very well received, much like the first one. So I would like to play those games someday, but and I know you guys harp on me. I do need to play the Shadow of Colossus remake. I know I do have to do that, but this is basically.
Have you ever played that game? Just out of curiosity.
Play essentially.
Wow. Yeah, you gotta play it.
I know. I think for me, this ultimately comes down to, because I really loved the Demon Souls remake. And I think that for almost that reason alone, I'm going to give it to Blue Point Games, because if we go by company reputation, I think both of these companies have pretty spotless reputations from what I know. So based on that, I have to give it to Blue Point because of Demon Souls.
Okay. Riley, I'm actually going to go first, if you don't mind.
Oh,
go ahead.
So the Shadow of the Colossus remake, it looks amazing. I have problems with it. I'm a little surprised that Blue Point Games did not redo the control scheme, because it is incredibly floaty. And with the Demon Souls remake, it looks amazing, and it is absolutely the version of the game you should play. But there's some debate about it's very much a 1-to-1 remake. We talked about this in depth. Feel free to listen or watch our
We had an episode on this one too. Yep.
We do. We have an episode on both these games. The Demon Souls remake is a 1-to-1 shot for shot remake, and that has some positives and negatives. There's some debate about they didn't really improve it or add anything to it, and there's some debate about whether they should or shouldn't have. I think I am actually going to go with Guerrilla. Because I think
interesting.
Horizon, maybe a surprise for the audience. Horizon Zero Dawn was pretty good. It's not my favorite. Killzone was pretty good. It's not my favorite, but they made original games and they're pretty well received. That's no hate on Blue Point, but they're a remake house. You know what I mean? They're a remaster house. And I think I'm going to go Guerrilla just to make Riley's life harder.
So we have one Guerrilla, one Blue Point. Okay.
I think it's going to be up to Riley. So go ahead.
All right, Riley.
Yeah. So as we discussed, they made the first game I ever played. I hear good things about Killzone. I've heard good things about those. Same with Horizon, but they don't really. I'm not jumping out of my pants to play any of these games. I have I think a solemn respect for Blue Point, even though I disagreed with some of the stuff they did in the Demon Souls remake. They made it look very, very nice. even if they missed some of my favorite details. I think they did a fantastic job with Shadow of the Colossus, despite I agree with you totally, Greg, about some of those control issues. But Blue Point has actually also remastered quite a few games, like the Metal Gear HD collection, I think like 2011, 2012 that came out.
Right.
They did a phenomenal job with that. I'm going to actually go with Blue Point on this one.
Okay, that's fair.
Wow.
This one is hard, so I mean, I think this was a good discussion.
I like Guerrilla Games. I mean, it's a shame they have to go out now, but
it's a good discussion either way.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is super fun.
I love this one.
I love this one. So the next one is Larian Studios. You may be familiar with Divinity or Divinity Original Sin. They are making Baldur's Gate 3.
It's out on PC, I believe.
Well, it's early access.
It's early access.
I don't think it's actually finished. So
got it.
And they're versus Bandai Namco, the developer. So they
not the publisher, the developer.
They publish a lot of games. So Bandai Namco, Tales series, Ace Combat, Soul Calibur, Iconic, Pac-Man. Now, I'd actually like to hear Riley's take first because I think I have a lot of bias here.
Sure.
Riley, go ahead.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I haven't played any of these Larian games, but if I remember correctly, you guys are big fans. Bandai Namco, I'm not sure. So we're not putting Souls anywhere in the mix,
right?
Right.
This is them as a developer.
Okay, so I mean, I liked what I played of Soul Calibur. Pac-Man is classic, of course. Nick Monahan, our buddy, really likes Ace Combat.
Yes,
likes has written extensively about that. I'm gonna just because of familiarity, I'm gonna go with Bandai Namco.
So this is harder than I would think. I am actually gonna go with Larian Studios, and then Nick's gonna make the choice. And this is why. Not only do I love Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, it was a fully realized couch co-op RPG, and you never see that shit. Like that shit does not happen anymore. So that is incredibly
except
impressive.
on Switch.
Well, sure.
It is not couch co-op on Switch, but yes.
But what's
disclaimer.
incredibly impressive to me, Divinity 2 Ego Draconis was also really good, but no one played it, no one liked it, and it sold like shit. And so what Larian did was they actually kickstarted Divinity Original Sin. It was crowdfunded, and it is the best crowdfunded game ever. Like I would say that anecdotally without the evidence in front of me. I think without a doubt, like they went from being like, I'm not going to say financially bankrupt. I'm going to say they were in dire straits and they went to crowdfunding to now they're one of the most respected RPG houses in the world. And I really tip my hat to them. Not only have I liked 3 or 4 games, I shouldn't even say I adore a lot of these Divinity games. And with Bandai Namco, yeah, I played Tales. It's fine. Like a Soul Calibur, I just prefer Smash, and Pac-Man is what it is. Nick, do you have a take?
Yeah, I can take. Sure. You want me to take before you take, or are you going with Larian?
I'm going with Larian. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm the decider here. All right. So the only Tales game I played is Tales of the Abyss. And for everybody tells me I made a very good choice because that is one of the best ones. And I would agree. Tales of the Abyss I played it at a 3DS remake. Phenomenal game. I'm not sure how the rest of the Tales series stands up to that, but really, really great games. That's really all the experience I have with Bandai Namco, although it gives a lot of weight because I thought that game was very good. Larian Studios is an interesting place, right? They went from basically nothing. Ego Draconis was a commercial failure. So chances are they're going to be dead. So they crowdfunded for the next one, which is really interesting. And now they have lots of money. So I hope they don't crowdfund anymore because I don't think they need to. But that might be a knock against them if they continue to crowdfund because they clearly don't need to do that anymore.
That's not happening.
All right, good. So I'm going to go with Larian here. Divinity is a fantastic series. Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2. They're fantastic games. If you're a strategic RPG kind of person, you absolutely need to play them if you haven't. Especially, and I think they're especially fun with friends. Solo might be a different experience, but they are more fun with friends. So I'm going to give it to Larian.
The reason why Larian is moving on before, I don't want to belabor the point. They are one of the few studios that I trust every single time to make a good game. Like their past 8 or 10 years of games, they're all smashes to me. And they're one of these games, my friend Noah and I would say that they are gamers games. Like if you want a brain trust RPG, like micromanage fest, they're awesome. So they're moving on. It's going to be Larian. So let's update.
All right, Larian, moving on.
So,
okay, this is a fun one.
So this one is going to be incredibly painful to one person here. This next matchup is Bungie versus Insomniac. And I think out of respect, I think Riley needs to take first.
Oh, sure. So, I don't know, because we've already kind of touched on 343 Industries. So we're differentiating Bungie of yesteryear and Bungie of now, even though it's a bunch of different people, versus Insomniac. Okay, so Insomniac here, we have Ratchet and Clank, which I never played, never really jumped out to me. I liked what I played of Spyro quite a lot. Those are kind of fun, kind of in the same vein as Crash Bandicoot. And everybody loves the new Spider-Man games, which I haven't played yet. But as we all know, I'm a legacy Bungie fan. I love all those old Halos, or most of them anyway. Destiny, we have discussed. A lot more complicated history there. And we have a bunch of games from the 90s, especially I'm not only going to go on Halo, I'm going to add Marathon. Those three games are a lot of fun. They're kind of doomy, a lot more sort of cerebral than the Halo games. But I have to give it to Bungie just on experience alone. No disrespect to Insomniac. They seem like a great team.
Nick, do you have a take either way?
Yeah, I can take. So my only experience with like old Halos is Greg. We played some Halo 2 co-op together. That was a lot of fun. I don't have a ton of experience with Insomniac's games. Apparently, the latest Ratchet and Clank that came out a year or two ago is very good. I have it on my shelf actually. It might be
right now.
Yeah. Apparently, it's very good. I have not played it. I want to. I do have it. It's very good. Honestly, for me, Insomniac is going to move on just because of how sour of a taste Destiny leaves in my mouth. Whenever someone tells me, oh, hey, this game that came out 3 years ago, it's good now, I go, fuck off. The game should be good when it comes out. And I don't care how good Destiny 2 is now. I don't care that it's playable now. Why wasn't it playable in 20 whatever when it came out? I don't know.
I don't like the look of those games. Really, the world doesn't really suck me in. It's very much it's supposed to be like kind of like a cooperative experience. Just not my thing personally, but I get you.
To me, it's like a game needs to be good when it comes out, not 3 or 4 years later. So I'm going with Insomniac.
So I think it's going to come down to me.
Yes, it does. Good luck.
This is really hard because you're taking essentially Halo that revolutionized first-person shooters for a company that really has a 25-year track record of good games. However, that's hard. Like you're taking 25 years of good games that maybe I don't love, but they're all good. And Halo
versus like Halo and Halo 2, which are
undeniably good. That's really hard. I really don't like having to make this choice. I think I'm gonna pick Insomniac. Because of
surprising.
Just because of track record. I mean, putting Halo and Halo 2 out in round 1 feels bad, but I just think when I think Ratchet and Clank, they're all good. Spyro is iconic. The new Spider-Man is really good. I just think you have to take 25 years of success. I think you have to, in my opinion. But that's hard.
Good reasoning, although it feels dirty. Yep.
It feels dirty. I agree. Insomniac. So let's go ahead here.
Fucking God.
This one is a little bit of a
fucking hell.
This might be a little bit of a Greg solo show here. We'll see. So this next one is Ubisoft versus Piranha Bytes, and your
this company.
So you might be wondering, who is Piranha Bytes? So Piranha Bytes makes
fucking worst RPGs I've ever played.
So Piranha Bytes makes a very, I don't know how to describe this. They make a very janky style of 3D RPG, and they make games called like Risen and Gothic. And if you're like a gamer's gamer PC RPG head, you've probably played the classic Gothic games. The thing about all of these games is they are not very good, but like they're very janky. They don't run well. They look bad, but there's just something about them that you just keep playing them. So they're really an RPG house. Or we're putting them against Ubisoft, which has an unbelievable history. But in the past 5 or 6, 7 years, I have so much hate for them that that's what makes this hard. Or is this easy? You know what I'm going to do? This could be very easy. Nick, why don't you say something before I could talk forever about this? Go ahead.
Wow.
Risen and Gothic are some of the worst games I've ever played in my fucking life. Ubisoft moves on.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Okay, Riley, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about those. So, all right, Ubisoft, we all know has its issues. I love the Rayman games. Most of them, Prince of Persia, I haven't played. I liked Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2 quite a lot.
I forgot they made those. That's right.
Splinter Cell, I haven't messed around with. The first Assassin's Creed, I like well enough. Then it kind of turned into what we know it is today. And I've heard good things about Child of Light. That's pretty positively reviewed. So I'm going to go with Ubisoft.
So we're going to go Ubisoft unanimous vote. So I have actually, it's interesting now that we wrote down all these notes. This is the one company on here. I think I've played a title or all of the titles in all of their franchises. So example, like I've played all the Raymans. I've played all of the Prince of Persia games, most of the Rainbow Sixes, Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed, unfortunately. Child of Light was actually like Paper Mario. It was really good. So I think Ubisoft has just kind of gotten off track the past 6 or 7 years. I hope for a revival from them. I don't think it's going to happen. But I think Ubisoft has got to move on. We could rant about it forever, but let's not belabor the point. Ubisoft is going to move on. And Prince of Persia Sands of Time.
Risen, man.
Dude, I know. Prince of Persia Sands of Time is the shit. Okay, that game is awesome. So let's move on.
Yeah.
We've got.
Let's fucking go. Love this one.
Love this
let's
one.
Go.
There's a really funny energy in the room right now. I don't know what it is, but go ahead.
Here we go. We've got Rare versus Intelligent Systems. So Rare's heavy hitters, Donkey Kong, Banjo, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, some iconic shit, versus Gamers Games, which is Intelligent Systems, Fire Emblem, Advance Wars, Paper Mario, WarioWare. This is maybe harder than we would think. I would actually like to hand this to Nick first.
Okay.
And Nick, go ahead.
Well, anyone who watches this podcast knows what I'm going to say, but so Rare is a fantastic company. They've made so many classics back in the day, but I can't tell you what they've made recently, whether it's been any good or what they've done. I think the latest good game did they make Tropical Freeze? Maybe? I think so.
I think you're right.
I think so. That might be the last. I can't remember the last like smash hit they had. Whereas Intelligent Systems is one of those companies where even the bad games are still good. You know what I mean? I don't know if Intelligent Systems has made a truly bad game in its life as a company. Mm-hmm. We might be able to dig one up from like the late like early 90s, but I would argue that no game Intelligent Systems has made has been bad. Obviously, they make one of my favorite series of all time, which is Fire Emblem. Although it has faltered in recent years, I think they've had a bit of a revival with Three Houses. And I mean, if you didn't know, they also make WarioWare and Paper Mario. And although we might consider the new Paper Marios not very good, it's not like they're like critically like lamp-basted or anything. They still score pretty well. I know people do still like them. And the decision to make Paper Mario the way it is mostly from Nintendo, their publisher, not so much from in-house at Intelligent Systems. We may rant about that in the future. But either way, I think Intelligent Systems has put out consistently great games for so many years, and especially recently. Like they are one of Nintendo's powerhouse developers right now. And For me, even despite what Rare did back when we were kids, it is undeniable what Intelligent Systems has put out there.
Okay. Riley, do you have a take?
Sure. I feel like this is a eulogy, but I am going to. I don't have, unfortunately, a ton of experience with intelligent systems, but they seem like they really know what they're doing. So I have a lot more experience with Rare. So that's what I'm going to go with. But I just want to discuss very briefly the Donkey Kong. We're talking about all of the main ones, right? Like Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong 64. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Like so much great. I think Donkey Kong, I think Donkey Kong Country 2 is probably the best one. But they're all great. There is a lot of emphasis on the music in their games. And a lot of just very unique looking stuff. When they transition into 3D with DK64 and the Banjo games, there's just kind of this unparalleled vibe that is, I think a lot of developers struggle with recapturing now because it's simple, but it's not like too sparse. Like there's a lot of stuff to do. It's not like overwhelming. It gets a little bit of a collectathon at points. But I really like the vibe of those games a lot. Didn't play GoldenEye a ton. It's obviously like monolithic. Perfect Dark, the first one, I absolutely adore. One of my favorite games. Another kind of example of the simplicity really working in its favor. So I'm going to go with Rare personally, but I wouldn't blame anybody for choosing IS.
Okay, so this is harder for me than you would think. Both Banjo games are great. Perfect Dark is good. GoldenEye is good. I think for me, I have to go with Intelligent Systems because every Fire Emblem is good, even the bad ones.
Let's fucking go. Yep.
They're all good.
We did a great retrospective on Fire Emblem, by the way, so please check that out.
Yeah, listen to those. Those are good.
I have something to say. That the first two Paper Marios are amazing. The rest are fucking awful. And like, I don't think that's an Intelligent Systems problem. I think.
Do they make all the new ones?
They did.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think what's happening is Mario and Luigi became their RPG Mario.
Yeah.
And Paper Mario was kind of kicked to the curb. They're really bad. And so I think what's going to happen is Paper Mario 1 and 2 are so good. And there are 5 or 6 Fire Emblems that are so good. You have to go IS. So we are going to go with Intelligent Systems. And let's move on. So this one, I don't have a lot of
this one's funny.
I actually don't have a lot of emotional investment in this one. I typically have a lot to say. I really don't. When it comes to this, I don't. God, all of our listeners fucking killed me for this. I haven't.
Yeah, they did.
I haven't played Celeste or any of.
Wait, did you say what the companies were yet?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this next one is EA, the developer, versus Extremely OK Games, which is Celeste, Earthblade, Towerfall. I don't have any experience with Extremely OK's games, so I may have to bow out and have other people take. I mean, I don't know. Madden is fine, I guess. Like,
let me get the ball rolling here a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I wasn't initially. It's not on our page here, but Extremely OK Games, like all the stuff they make looks awesome, especially Celeste. I really want to check that one out. But in terms of EA, the developer, it wouldn't initially jump out at you, but the Lord of the Rings catalog is really unparalleled. Like,
oh shit, they developed that?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
so
I put
talking
this together.
about
Oops.
Like Two Towers, Return of the King, the Third
I didn't know they made
Age.
those.
But Battle for Middle Earth, I love the first one especially.
This decision just got easier.
Fuck, man. Okay.
For me, I'm going with EA. That's my reasoning.
Wow.
And I can't believe we're putting forward EA with anything possible.
I know. The irony is not lost on me, but I just wanted to address that.
Oh, fuck.
Did this
oops.
Did this just become a unanimous vote? It might have. I can't believe I'm putting EA forward with anything unanimous that's positive.
Oh, don't worry. They'll have their day in court. But
no, fuck FIFA. Fuck FIFA. Extremely OK Games is my vote.
Okay.
Well, EA is moving on.
EA is moving on anyway. Pity vote.
So, okay.
Fuck. I didn't know that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we won't belabor the point. I want to play Celeste. I haven't. The Sims is
I play a little bit
iconic.
of it. It's actually pretty good. Yeah.
The Sims is iconic. Madden is fine. FIFA is fine. That really weird era of Two Towers and Return of the King games are really good. So great call, Riley, bringing that up.
Wow.
So EA's moving on.
Call.
Let's move down here. The next two.
Oh, interesting.
We've got, this one's interesting. We've got Retro Studios versus Supergiant. Retro Studios is Metroid Prime. They did some Donkey Kong Country offshoots as well.
The most recent ones.
Yep. And Supergiant Games is like an indie darling. Hades, Bastion, Pyre, Transistor. I think I'm personally going to take right away, if you don't mind. I think Supergiant Games may go ahead for me personally. Because even though I am not really a dungeon crawler guy, Hades was very impressive. Bastion and Pyre are incredibly well received. So is Transistor. And good for them, for making their way up the industry ladder. And Hades was good. Riley, can you take next if you don't mind?
Sure. So, a lot of this is down to me just not playing anything, but I haven't played anything Supergiant has made. I have a lot of plans for Hades for sure. Bastion, I've heard amazing things about. Not really familiar with the other ones. Haven't played the new Donkey Kongs, but Metroid Prime, especially the first one, is like it's putting retro in for me. I just think they did an incredible job translating that sort of side-scrolling element of the originals into a first-person perspective. The atmosphere is really, really good. It's a lot darker than you would expect for a Nintendo game. I think it's super memorable for me. I think it was one of the first couple of GameCube titles that I owned. So I'm going to go with retro on this one.
Nick, it's up to you.
Awesome. Love hearing that. Wow. I mean, you can't deny the iconic Metroid Prime series, even though whatever weird thing is happening with 4. Did they make Metroid Dread? Did they make that Metroid Dread?
I don't know, actually.
I'm not sure. I just thought of that now. I mean, I haven't played it. I'm not a big, what's really interesting? I didn't notice when we put these two together. They're both I know Hades isn't a Metroidvania, but it has like dungeon crawler, roguelike aspects to it. Right. So they're both very interesting how they're both like kind of in those dungeon crawler kind of games ish. I did play Hades. I'm with Greg. I'm not a huge roguelike light person, but I did think Hades was very impressive. So man, a lot of our friends really like Metroid Prime. I'm about to piss all of them off because I'm putting Supergiant forward.
Nice. Okay. They didn't do Dread, by the way.
They did not. Okay.
No.
Gotcha. All right. So even more reason for me to put Supergiant.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So, okay, this next one, I think okay, let's take this one as seriously as we can. I
don't know if it's possible.
I have a lot of memories and big respect for both of these companies. This matchup is That Game Company, which is Journey, Flower, Flow, versus Game Freak, which is obviously Pokemon. For me personally, Pokemon is iconic, and Pokemon Red and Blue is just one of the most influential games, period. And so I don't know how you could argue that that Game Company is better, but then again, Game Freak's recent games have been very disappointing. So I think I'm putting up history and track record over the indie darlings, but I'm going to let Riley take next.
Yeah, sure. So we just had an episode not that long ago about Journey and Abzu, which you should totally check out. They did Journey, which I liked very much. I think just in terms of impact, it's kind of undeniable that Pokemon is much, it's much more ubiquitous. I've never played any of the other ones after the second generation, but I loved both of those waves when they came out. They are really well put together. They seem like they know what they're doing. I'm going to put Game Freak for this one.
Nick, unless you have anything else to say, is this unanimous?
So this is what I'm going to say. I don't think that game company has done too much recently, if I'm correct. When's the last time they put out a game? I don't actually know. It's been a long time, I think. And I would actually rather no games have come out than any of the Pokemon games from the past 5 years. So I'm going with that game company.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
I know it doesn't, my vote doesn't matter, but I'm going with that game company, but Game Freak is moving forward. I think Game Freak might get some points back because apparently Legends of Arceus, however you pronounce it, apparently it's pretty well received. People like it. So those recent ones drag it down that much for you? Yeah, I would say so. I'm just Game Freak as a company too. Like they're literally releasing 3 Pokemon games in pretty much a calendar year.
Yeah, it's
which
insane.
is like they're just putting stuff out to put stuff out.
I think what's happening.
Am I going to buy them? Yes, but I suck. So
I mean, here's the thing. I think what's going on with Game Freak is they're not releasing games for the audience that grew up with them. They're releasing games for new generations of kids. Like Pokemon was our generation. We're in our late 20s, early 30s, and for us, Pokemon was the shit. And so they're just. I mean this in a funny way. There are many fan-made Pokemon games that are better than real Pokemon games.
We played a couple of them.
We have. But just so this doesn't get taken down from YouTube, we won't talk about them. So next, Game Freak is moving on. This next matchup is hilarious. This next matchup is Bethesda, the developer, versus Grasshopper. So Bethesda is iconic Elder Scrolls, the more recent Fallout titles. Grasshopper is kind of your indie darling a little. They got No More Heroes, Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer 7. They're almost like the poor man's Platinum, kind of, if you want to put it. If you want to go that far. Now, would anyone like to take? Would you like me to go? I have some experience with all of these. Riley, do you want to take?
Why don't you go?
Yeah,
I don't have experience with Grasshopper, so please.
Sure. So, I mean, I actually, when it comes to Bethesda, Morrowind is the shit. Like Oblivion is the shit. Skyrim exists.
That it does on almost everything you can play it on.
Yeah. So Fallout 3, pretty good. Don't like Fallout 4. Obviously 76 is a disaster. With Grasshopper, for me, I can't put I don't know what the right way to put this is. I can't put the stylish, artsy, darling games over Oblivion. Like, even though
who could?
I mean, like, No More Heroes is cool. Like, Killer 7 is all right. Lollipop Chainsaw is vile. But they are like, they have an interesting like style to them, like Platinum does. But I think it's undeniable that you got to put Morrowind and Oblivion over Grasshopper. But I mean, unless you guys have anything to say, we can just put Bethesda forward because we're probably gonna have to talk about Bethesda a lot. But
I would like to bring up that, Bethesda is my choice for sure, because I love what I've played of Morrowind. I love Oblivion front to back. Fallout 3, I'm a big fan of. Their recent works, not so much. We'll see how Starfield comes out. And it's really
no high hopes here.
It's really upsetting to me that I'm watching EA get put forward and Bethesda get put forward, and it's starting to feel like a primary of like who's the least shitty. You know what I mean?
This is a fucking awful bracket, man. This Midwest bracket, man. This is shit.
But because
Game Freak, EA,
they've made so much stuff I like, and then like pretty much all of them have made so much stuff I like, and then shit the bed somewhere. And it's like that's what it's going to come down to, like who shit the bed the least. But Bethesda is my vote for this round. Let's just call it.
You know what's interesting? Like Bethesda and Ubisoft are kind of similar here. How much is their reputation? Well, sorry, not reputation. How much is their past going to push them forward? Because Bethesda of 2022 is fucking abysmal, but Bethesda of the Oblivion years is amazing. So I'm really curious how much of that is going to push them ahead.
Yeah, for
sure.
So
obviously Bethesda's moving forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about Bethesda a lot, not only in this episode, but on the show. So let's not belabor. Let's keep going.
Dude, wait, can we look and see the next round of this? It's going to be Game Freak versus Bethesda.
Yeah,
fucking hell. Okay,
going to be hellish. Almost wish we had a bigger panel. So here we go. The next round is Obsidian versus Ninja Theory, which is fascinating to me. This is a very, very good one.
It's a good one.
So let's put up some notes for the audience here. Obsidian. Here's what we can't do. so Tim and Leonard, who made the Outer Worlds, so they are Obsidian. However, I don't want to cloud their past in with Obsidian. What I mean by that is, so Tim and Leonard, they were employees of Troika Games and Interplay. I think people confuse, like, Obsidian did not make Fallout 1 and 2. The people who created Obsidian made Fallout 1 and 2, so it's the same talent, different company.
Right.
And so Ninja Theory is Hellblade, the Devil May Cry remake, and Heavenly
Oh, I didn't know
Sword.
that.
Yeah, they've made some really good action games. So this is really hard. So Riley, do you mind getting the ball rolling? Maybe you can influence me one way.
Oh, yeah. So we have a Hellblade episode that you should definitely listen to, wherein
Great episode.
We kind of dissect. It's incredible to me because they are definitely operating on a tighter budget, and they still produce these incredible, like, seemingly very, like, it's a double A game for the modern age, I guess. Big fan of Hellblade. That being said, I am going to have to give it to Obsidian here. Outer Worlds I thought was pretty good. I haven't played Pillars of Eternity or Stick of Truth or Dungeon Siege, but Fallout New Vegas and Knights of the Old Republic 2 are two of the most profound experiences that I've ever had with the medium. And it just really, playing both of those, it really inspired me that people would put so much effort into plotting and themes and characterization, and it just made it feel so mature. And it, like, as Greg's mantra goes, I would not be embarrassed if somebody walked in to see me playing those. So I'm going with Obsidian personally, but Nick,
Sure.
you can take it, or whoever.
Nick, go ahead.
You want me to go? All right, sure. Obsidian's great. I mean, I've said this a lot in this episode, actually, that Pillars of Eternity, as great as it was, left a bad taste in my mouth because the console port was so bad.
It is really bad.
As a game, it's fantastic. Technically, the console port is abysmal. And I do have to hate on them a little bit for not putting the resources into
They
that.
have struggled with that. Both New Vegas and KOTOR 2 were unfinished at launch. So,
Really?
I mean, we have to hold that up there. But I think even in spite of that, I still stand by my decision here.
I mean, Nick.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've not played any of Ninja Theory's games, so I don't have too much opinion on them. I recognize how great Hellblade was, and a new Hellblade is coming out this year, right?
Supposedly, yeah.
So I do appreciate how good they are, but for this, I got to give it to Obsidian. They've got the track record, and even though my experience with Pillars of Eternity on console wasn't great, it's incredible on PC. Like, people, for good reason, they have a lot of good things to say about Pillars of Eternity. So I'm going to go with Obsidian here.
Nick, and you may forget, we played Dungeon Siege 3.
We did, actually. I forgot to mention that. We did play. I thought that was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I feel like Obsidian is just one of these developers where I look at all the games on this list, I'm like, yeah, these were all pretty good. Like,
it's a tough draw for Ninja Theory.
Yeah, Ninja Theory, I think what it is like, Fallout New Vegas, pretty good, not my favorite. Dungeon Siege 3, it's pretty good, it's not my favorite. Outer Worlds, same definition, Stick of Truth, Pillars of Eternity, pretty good. Like, I think Obsidian's going to move on here for sure. I think that's, is that unanimous? I believe
it is unanimous.
Yep.
Let's go.
Okay. Wow. So this one, I think we got to tip our cap either way here. This one, we got some big names. This next matchup is BioWare versus Team Ico or Team Eco. Let's all tip our caps. They've both made some very, very good games. And they have a couple of stinkers either way.
And BioWare especially.
I think out of respect for my co-host, I think Riley should take first.
Oh yeah. Well, this is actually the toughest one yet for me.
Ooh, interesting.
Out of respect, you should get the ball rolling.
Out of respect, I love it.
So BioWare, we have the first KOTOR, which I like very, very much. An incredible reinvention. I like the second one a lot better. Mass Effect 1 and 2, undeniable, like really life-changing stuff. 3 is, I've warmed to it. I haven't played any of the Dragon Age games, but I don't see their satellite branch out here. So I am putting Mass Effect Andromeda in the mix. is insofar as BioWare output, whereas Team Eco, Eco, the game was not like haven't gone back to it. I do plan to. Shadow of the Colossus is like life changing. And Last Guardian, nobody likes that game. So, but I don't know, because I think BioWare of yesteryear is very good, and they have affected my life significantly in a lot of ways. But I think the sheer artistic accomplishment of Team Eco is going to put that one forward for me.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You're going Team Eco.
Yep.
That's surprising. Wow. Okay.
Can you take next?
I can take next. I don't have a ton of experience with Team Eco games, but I appreciate how good they are. Except for Last Guardian. I've watched some really funny videos about that game. I don't intend to ever play it, but it seems like a pretty funny game to watch people just like get frustrated at. For BioWare, interesting. It's weird. I should. It's a big hole in my gaming history. I have not played any Mass Effect games. I know I would like them. I just haven't. But I have played all the Dragon Age games. BioWare for me is also a company. It seems like a running theme in this list, right? It's a company whose past games might put them forward for a while, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Because Dragon Age Origins especially is like one of the best, most impactful RPGs I've ever played. And it definitely influenced a lot of games going forward. Even if Dragon Age 2 is not as good and Inquisition is a bit of a mess, they're still all right. But even if we just put, for me, Dragon Age Origins versus everything that Team Eco has done, I have to put BioWare ahead.
Oh, you're leaving it up to me, huh?
That's right. Have fun. Woo!
This is really, really hard. As you guys were discussing these, the decision that I feel like I have to make is, do you take one of the best games of all time, which is Shadow of the Colossus, versus some pretty damn good franchises that have some stinkers? That have
gotten worse as they've gone along. Yeah.
I think, wow.
Pretty much all of them. They did Anthem too, right?
Oh God, they did.
All right. You've sold me. Team Ico.
Yeah.
Can I take back my vote? I forgot they did.
No, Riley, I thought you were going to say BioWare because of how much effect they had on you, but let's not.
How much of a Mass Effect they had on you?
Sorry. Yeah. So let's keep going. So yeah, I can't believe.
So Team Eco,
putting Team Ico across for the strength of one game.
I actually love that.
I actually, just a little background. I've played all three of these games. I finished them all. And so Ico is fine. Shadow of the Colossus is an all-timer, and Last Guardian is not very good. Obviously Mass Effect, we've talked about it in depth. Dragon Age,
I kind of also in the vein of you mentioned this also, where they're one of those developers where no matter what, you're always interested in what they're doing. They do have a new one coming out soon, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Ooh,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I think I feel better about my choice now. It just feels weird, because of all the success BioWare's had. But Anthem is probably one of the worst names of a video game I've ever seen. So let's continue.
For that reason?
Yeah, for that reason, Ico is moving on.
We're almost done. This is an interesting one.
Greg, this is going to be really hard.
Oh my God. All right. So I got to put like my heart up against my head here. I think that's what's going to happen. We've got Atlas versus Rockstar. These are two juggernaut developers for sure. Atlas Persona is the shit. Shin Megami's really cool. Never played a Train Odyssey. Radiant Historia is the shit. Catherine's the shit. And you have Rockstar games. These games make a lot of money. That's
the only positive thing Greg has to say about them.
So we have Red Dead, Bully, GTA, LA Noire is the main ones.
Without me being funny, let's try to be serious here. Rockstar games are actually made about 20 minutes down the street from us, which is interesting.
That's true. Local company.
Yeah. Man, this is, I need someone else to do this because I
can take first if you want.
Let's have Nick do it.
Yeah. Nick, why don't you take?
So I might be the only one in this room who has had like a ton of experience with Atlas games. I know, Greg, you've played Persona 5. I don't have a ton of experience with Rockstar. I just know I wouldn't like any of them, honestly. Like, why would I ever want to play GTA? It just seems like a waste of my time. But however, I am cognizant that Bully was excellent, and people have been wanting like a remaster or like a sequel or something for a long time. I've never played it. I hear people say Bully is excellent, so I got to give them credit there. And people really like Red Dead. Not a game that I would get into, but people really like it. I think the best part about Red Dead for me is watching people play with a shitload of mods and just having crazy shit happen. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those games where I think mods just make it better. But anyway, for Atlas, obviously Persona 5 is like one of the best RPGs I've ever played. And Greg, I think you would agree with me. It's probably the best Japanese RPG to come out in the past maybe even decade.
It's one of the
5 years
perfect,
or so.
This is no exaggeration. I think Persona 5 is one of the most perfect games I've played, period.
Yeah, Shin Megami is excellent as well. The most recent one came out. I have not played it, but the one I did play was awesome. And Radiant Historia is criminally overlooked, but a very good game. Greg, this is really funny, but I think we make a pass for this because Atlas does break one of your rules where depending on when you walk in during one of these games, you might be a little embarrassed during Persona 5 or Catherine, or maybe not Shin Megami, but Radiant Historia, they did some dumb shit with the remake on 3DS. But either way, I think for me, because of my experience with Atlas and because of how profound Persona 5 is and how amazing I thought Shin Megami 4 was when I played it, and of course Radiant Historia, I have to go with Atlas here, even though if someone were to come in at the wrong time, I might be like, wait, no, it's not what it looks like, I swear.
I mean, so Riley, why don't you take next? Because Nick, I would say the same thing. You think all the fucking like blatant sexual shit in these Rockstar games isn't kind of embarrassing too? It definitely
oh shit, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I mean, Riley, please take. Like,
okay. So I wanted to point out also Atlas, they published Demon's Souls, right? They were
oh, that's right.
Right.
They did.
But we're going by developer here, so I'm
that's
not going
right.
to count that.
That's a good point.
No, but I get incredible vibes from Atlas. It seems like another one of those teams that is just very confident in what they're doing. They don't seem to saturate too much. Like, it's not like you're tripping over sequels or whatever. They seem to take their time with their stuff. Mm-hmm. And Rockstar, I don't know how into the nitty gritty we've gotten on this show. I think we've done some of those top 100 lists in the past where they've come up. I'm not generally a fan of these games. So LA Noire, I finished. I thought it was very repetitive. Red Dead, I just kind of messed around with the first one. I struggle with getting into them. I finished GTA 5. I thought it was pretty funny, but I didn't love playing it, if that makes sense. They just don't feel great to me to play. I don't feel like compelled, other than like I felt like I bought that game just so I could be on the hype train with everybody else. I'm like, I gotta finish it, but it was really like dragging my heels. And I think 4 is cool that it's like kind of like the somber, serious one, and Vice City is really stylish and all of that. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with Atlas, even though I've never played any of them. I just think I like their vibes better. That's I
like that.
With. Yeah,
we're going with fourth category on this list is vibes. Atlas gives us vibes. Yeah.
Yep.
Greg's favorite word.
I hate the word vibe. So here's what's gonna happen. There's too much video of me saying how much I don't like Rockstar games. Like there's too much on tape.
There's a lot on tape.
Here's the thing. Catherine is.
We have the receipts.
Catherine is fucking awesome. Really, really cool. I got Radiant Historia out of the blue, and I thought it was amazing. Persona 5 is amazing. All Rockstar games are just inherently the same. They have the same running mechanics and shooting mechanics and mini map, and I can't do it, man. Atlas is moving on.
It makes me happy. Makes me happy that Atlas moves on. They've made a lot of games that maybe a lot of people don't know or haven't played, even though they're such a big company. You know, exactly. I feel like I don't know a lot of people have played Persona.
They're very picky and choosy about what they put out, and it's most of the time good.
Yep.
So this last one is kind of funny.
Oh, last one of round one. We made it, guys. Round one's almost over.
2 hours in.
Woo!
This last round, I shouldn't say last round. This last matchup here for this segment
funny.
Is really funny. We've got LucasArts versus Humongous Entertainment. Now, you may not
I love it.
You might not know Humongous Entertainment by name, but if you ever played those early PC games like Spy Fox and Backyard Baseball and Pajama Sam and Freddy Fish, that's them. versus LucasArts, which is Monkey Island, Star Wars Battlefront, The Force Unleashed, the first couple of Lego Star Wars. So they did not make, Fallen Order. That.
Oh, they didn't.
I don't.
That's
Respawn.
So.
Oh,
that's Respawn.
Oh, that's Respawn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
LucasArts was dissolved, I believe, in early, I think like 2012, 2013.
This is also an interesting one.
When the Disney takeover started happening. But they have, I think they're kind of trying to reform it with like Lucasfilm Games, I believe it's called now. But LucasArts, I'm going to take the lead on this one if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
I have a lot of fond memories from both of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Humongous Entertainment. I for a while we had Pajama Sam as our Facebook banner, and those games are very cute. They're very more geared to a younger audience. But I loved Spy Fox in particular. Those are very clever, awesome. Very inventive stuff. LucasArts is just like you guys probably have not as much experience as I do with these, but Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, the Battlefronts, Republic Commando, pretty much the classics that I grew up with. And I was, in my big Star Wars phase when I was that age. So, and I think they did a lot to, everybody memes on the prequels, but they did a lot to flesh out the world building a lot more and make it more coherent, which I really respect them for. And not only that, but they are also kind of in the same, it's a good matchup. They're kind of in the same game of the point and click with the Monkey Islands, which I've heard incredible things about. They look amazing. And Grim Fandango. And that game is is unbelievable. So I'm going to go with LucasArts personally, despite how much I love Humongous. But go ahead, guys.
Nick, why don't you take?
Sure. This is an interesting one. I didn't really think about this. They're both companies that are they're not quite gone, but they're still kind of kicking around. I don't know if you knew this, but Humongous Entertainment is still putting out games. You can get Spy Fox on the App Store.
Oh my God.
They make it for kids. Yeah. Spy Fox and the dry Spy Fox and the dry cereal is the latest one to come out.
Yeah.
Is that the first? Oh, they must have re-released it for iOS or something. So pretty cool. You can still, if you go on their website, you can still download those old games. And also another fun story, way back when the MLB season was canceled due to COVID or postponed due to COVID, people started streaming Backyard Baseball. Instead of the MLB The Show games, which is really funny. I mean, who can forget hitting dongs with Pablo Sanchez? I mean, let's go. The
dingers.
GOAT of backyard sports. Yes.
He loves the dingers.
That's right. Oh man, I think I have so many fond memories. It's honestly, Riley, your experience with LucasArts is a mirror of mine with Humongous Entertainment and just how much time I put into those games. Both of these companies are awesome. I have not played a ton of LucasArts games. We cannot deny the Lego Star Wars though. Even if you don't like anything else, Lego Star Wars is incredible. But for me, I have to go Humongous Entertainment just because of how much I loved Backyard Baseball and Spy Fox when I was a kid. But so, Greg, the last matchup of round one falls to you. What do you do?
Wow. This is a really fun one.
I love this one.
Weighing this in my brain here. Lego Star Wars is really cool. Grim Fandango is cool. Monkey Island is cool. But Spy Fox and Backyard Baseball is my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
This is hard. I think this is really a coin flip. I think I'm gonna go LucasArts because purely game for game, I just think LucasArts has a few more than Humongous, even though they're both really, really fun and really cute. So this has been the first segment.
We did it.
We've brought 64 down to 32. We are gonna kill this for now, but we are gonna come back with the next one.
What's our first battle of the next round?
It's gonna be Jagex versus Harmonix.
All right, Jagex.
See you then.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah, pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah. Go Hoosiers. I'm kidding. Here we go. See ya.